There you go.
Thank you, Sabrina. Hello. Calling this the April 2nd meeting of the Norwalk Arts and Cultural Commission order. We'll start with a roll call. Brian Casper, Chair, present. Danny Loftus-George.
Present. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you again. Mark Allen. Hello. Recognizing Mark Allen. Naomi Clark.
Hi, present.
Hello. And Melissa Matuska.
I'm here.
Cool. That's what we got for now. See if anyone joins a little late. I think Bob said he's out of town, so Bob's definitely not coming in. But we'll see if Steve and Nori join. All right, so first item on the agenda, public participation. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak? By Mark.
He's joining back. Janae is here. So Janae actually submitted her
right on
resume and letter to join the commission. So I'm gonna promote her and she can participate as like a friend if she wants to today.
Cool.
Janae, I'll promote you and then you can, stay on mute or you can add in if you want. You just can't vote yet. So yeah, exciting stuff. But that's the only
for sure
here.
All right. Also recognizing Nori Gruden joining at 6:04. Hi Janae, it's good to see you again. I'm happy to hear that you submitted your resume for this.
I'm excited and hope it works out, and thanks again for meeting with me.
Yeah, of course. Anyone else here, Sabrina?
Nope, that was it.
Well, I thought for sure after the Nancy and Norwalk thing, we'd get at least one person joining in. Okay. All right. So first things first, we need to approve the minutes of the March 5th meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review that? And does anyone have any additions, corrections, etc.? Okay. That's it. Mark's back.
I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out where the music was coming from on my computer. It was driving me crazy. So I had to restart. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay, well, if there's no additions or corrections, we have a motion to approve the minutes from March 5th.
I will make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mark. Do you have a second?
Aye.
Thank you, Nori. Brian Casper, I vote aye. Danny Loftus-George. Oh, you weren't here. You have to abstain. Mark Allen.
Aye.
Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
Aye.
And Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
All right, that's out of the way. Approved. All right, new business. Starting out with budget review. Bob isn't here, so Melissa is here in his place, but I believe there's probably not much to update us on. But Melissa, I'll let you take it away. Do you have anything for us? Melissa, you're muted if you're talking. I also can't see your video.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, so there's nothing has changed. So I'm just really presenting that nothing has really changed. If anyone has any questions, I do have the documents, but it's the same thing we presented last week as well.
Yep. Okay. Well,
I think the only thing that would change is the I don't know if we need to vote on approval for it, but the money that would be spent for the marketplace on Washington.
Yeah, that's
when
later
we
in the agenda.
work on that. Yeah, later on in the meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Thanks, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Moving on, item B, the teaching fellowship. Naomi, do you have any updates for us?
Hi.
Hello.
I don't. I'm meeting with,
Okay.
they're on spring break, so we're gonna meet when they get back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, this is, these sort of things are just kind of an ever rotating, now that it's kind of in progress, ever rotating agenda item. So sometimes there's just nothing, but that's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully soon.
Cool. Okay, then we're moving on to item C is just general committee member updates. Does anyone have any new business or updates they want to mention here on the record? Cool. Man, we're breezing right through. We don't have Bob. It's, moves fast. Item D, the market on Washington Street. This was what was being called the Sono Stride event. This is now called Marketplace on Washington Street. This is the music. The Arts Commission is sort of inserting some music and potentially other things down the road into an event that's already taking place. Mark has been spearheading this, so I'll let him chat about this and present his budget for this, and we are going to be voting on that as well. So, Mark, I'll let you take it away. You have the floor.
Cool. So I talked to Sabrina, and we talked offline about the amount that we wanted to spend on this. Being that we have roughly 10,000 left in our budget, that will then get renewed in July. So we basically would need to kind of spend this between now and then. There are some other things that we might spend it on, but figuring we had roughly 10K. So I sort of plotted out to have, I think we talked about having about 3,300 or so for this event in theory. What I did is I put out a call to artists through social media, and we did pretty well. We ended up scheduling about 12 artists to perform, and we try to make it as diverse as we can, and we can get into the details of that later. But what I try to do is, because we have three storefronts where we're doing live music, I tried to kind of space it out as much as I could, so that we had some music happening in the different spaces, throughout the day. And I tried to kind of keep it even as far as what we pay people. I didn't really want to get into negotiating like a separate amount for different groups, but honestly, because it just wouldn't have been time for me to pull it together. So what we did is we came up with a kind of a even amount of $150 per performer. And so we appealed to everybody on a sort of community level to saying this, we called it a stipend. It's not really what these guys would charge or anybody would charge for, a 90-minute performance or whatever. But everybody kind of understood what we were doing, and, not asking people to play for free for a community event, which we've done so many times. And we think everybody should get paid. And so what we did is, by keeping it to 150 per performer, but I was doing it like if it was a duo, it would be 300 and up to 450 for 3 or more people, to try to keep it affordable. And so that's basically, in terms of the number of artists that is scheduled, it's come out to exactly $3,300, and I'm hoping that everybody's happy with that.
And so you're doing 3,300. So that's for April, May, and June, right?
No, that would be 3,300 for April 13th and 14th.
Right, but I'm saying, because you have 10,000, is 3,300 for each month?
In theory, although we have to see the one for May, we may only have 2 storefronts available depending on how things go.
Okay.
So we have to see. We might be a shifting in a situation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some other fundraising we could do to raise more money. It kind of just depends. I'm not going to say we should lock into that, but this is what I did for this one.
Your sort of average. Okay. Yeah. And I think, really it's,
Brian.
we're met. Yeah.
Sorry, just for this item, when you guys approve it, let's approve it for the max amount. So that round number that we used was 10,000. Let's approve it for that. And then if we come under, that's great. And we have, extra to spend, but then it's approved for the record.
So for all intents and purposes, we're saying 10,000 when we go to vote. We're voting for 10,000 to be allocated for April, May, and June events.
Exactly.
Correct. Okay. Danny has his hand up.
Yeah, sorry if I missed the boat because I wasn't here, but this is just for Washington Street, right? Like we're not doing this anywhere else.
Right. For now, we're piggybacking on some events that the city event committee has already started.
Awesome.
We have to use up this budget Otherwise, we don't get it next year.
Got it.
And since we have long talked about doing a series of music events, this was a good place for us to kind of start as like kind of a bit of a baseline or sort of proving ground.
I think it's
Um,
fantastic. I guess my question, we have property on Wall Street, obviously, so if there's ever an interest there, we just got another building as
Oh,
well.
no, for sure. Yeah,
Wait, we
for
can
sure.
have
We want to, the goal is to make this kind of a broader thing. Right now, we're just kind of piggybacking on, we already have people
No
coming to
problem.
this event. So yeah.
Totally understand. If there's ever that interest there, we obviously have property that we're more than
Yes.
happy to
Yes.
donate or use, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do, Mark has mentioned also incorporating other, other aspects such as dance or poetry or, other things. But right now with the time the way it was and just Mark using his expertise, we just went, okay, we're going to go music.
No, I think
And
it's a great idea. I'm
yeah.
glad we're doing something like this. I
But
think it's
even on
great.
this, I kept it open to music, dance, poetry as well for this. That's why one of the people I reached out to was Noko, because I said, there's a chance that we could have people sing, people could dance, people could do performance art. We're not trying to limit it to just music, but this is.
I think it's so awesome. I fully support it. Obviously, I think it's a great idea. So I'm glad we're doing something that involves the community and presents something like that. I think it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and some other things too that Mark has offered to these musicians, and I'm fully on board with this, is them to be able to sell merch or vinyl or whatever it is they have alongside, and we're not going to take a cut of that or anything. That's just for their publicity and them to make a little bit extra money. And I supported that idea, and we
The only
did.
thing
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought we might want to adjust for the future is, so right now, each of these artists is coming in self-contained. So if they need speakers and microphones and so forth, they're all self-contained, like they would be on a street corner. But I think for an event like this, we have a better chance of rotating talent if maybe we rented speakers and mics for each location. So then we could swap out the performers and rotate them without having each one come in and have to set up, break down, and set up and break down.
Absolutely.
And so I think that given for the time we have for May or June, that might be more feasible.
Cool.
This is
All right.
Melissa. I would like to make a motion that we, for $10,000 to cover the events that we're looking to cover, for the bands in the spaces on Washington Avenue.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second. Oh,
Sorry,
a third.
Danny has to, sorry, Danny has to abstain because some of his students are financially benefiting.
I'm abstaining.
Sorry, Danny.
Oh, good. All right, Naomi seconds. Wait, do we have one, two? Okay, we have enough to vote on this. Okay, then we'll just do a quick
Just wanted to
vote
ask a
by-
question before the vote. Sabrina or Melissa, does this represent the sum total of our balance of the money that's left in the budget?
There's 11. No, it's not, because we have
Let me take a look at that.
11-4. 11-4, I think, is what we have left.
Okay.
And so this
Would
is
it be-
this will also
I'm
be,
sorry.
because we talked about this last meeting about taking that little bit of a balance to be used for the mayor's gallery thing.
Hang on just a second. I'll be able to give you the balance.
Thanks,
Because
Melissa.
even if the mayor's gallery has to wait until July, that's
I
okay
don't think it does.
for what I'm doing, but
I don't
So
think
I'm
it's
seeing a
fine.
balance. I'm seeing a balance of 9,500.
okay.
Do you want me to share a screen and I can show it to you?
Yeah. We have a vote on the floor.
Sorry.
I
All right,
How
so-
was
do we handle
wondering-
this? I don't know how to handle that.
So we just might have to amend the motion to 9,500 then.
So we have, I think you guys were working from a budget sheet in your side kind of meeting, but we have a total of $12,000 left in the operating accounts.
Right.
Of that, 6, 7, 8, there's about 9,300-ish. Nope.
Uh-huh.
$10,300. That's like, nope. Sorry, $11,300. That's touchable. The Port Laureate
Okay, I
is
said
out of
11,
that
11,
number,
4.
and the 940 is out of that number. But we have $1,000 in printing and duplicating that we can use. We have 9,800 in the other professional services we can use, and we have 2,500 in business expenses we can use.
Okay, so it's 11,300 total. The motion is to approve $10,000 to be allocated over the course of 3 months for the Newark Arts and Cultural Commission to oversee, inserting some sort of live performance, whether it be music, poetry, dance, etc., for these 3 months. And that's what we're voting on right now. Okay, so vote by roll. Brian Casper, I vote aye. Danny Loftus George.
Abstain.
All right, abstain. Mark Allen.
Aye.
Naomi
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Nori Gruden.
I have a question. Do you hear me? I have a quick question.
There's a vote on the floor.
Yes, this goes to the vote because Mark just talked about equipment, like speakers and stuff. Can we do another vote to maybe purchase the stuff so it's in with Sabrina or whatever?
I
And
think that's,
Miles.
I mean, I think for the purposes of this, this is the money we have to work with for these 3 initial
Okay.
events all in. We've given the reins to Mark on this for a number of reasons. One, just his connections in the world, but 2, like he understands this world better than, well, at least better than me. I don't want to say all of us. So that my thought was like, let him kind of handle it. And he is sort of doing this with the intention of low impact equipment is the hope here. It's, an amp is probably gonna be enough for this, but I think if we do move forward, that's a good note that if we do move forward and we keep these events going and expanding them in some of the ways that Danny's suggesting, that maybe then we start to think about the Arts Commission having a piece of equipment to do more of these things, so we don't have to rent or constantly call favors in for this. So
I guess my question is, if we do that, who's going to be the person to set it up each time and take it down, right? I love the idea of a rental. I think that there's a ton of arts companies like Factory Underground, et cetera, that we could probably come up with some deal with that would make sense there.
Sure.
I don't know if we have to get vendors. This is besides the point. Let's do the vote. I'm sorry. Let's do
Yeah.
that, and then we'll. Sorry, Brad.
let's finish up though. So in order to answer your question more specifically, this is just voting for $10,000 flat, basically for us to handle sticking performers in these Marketplace and Washington events for the 3 weekends in April, May, and June.
Right. With the
yes,
idea that.
I will vote aye. I will vote aye as a cap for $10,000.
Thank you, Nori. And last but not least, Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Thank you. The vote passes. The motion passes, sorry.
Since there's no longer a vote on the floor, I would like to mention
Okay,
earlier, I found the correct budget sheet. And
Okay.
Sabrina's right, it is $12,340.12. So I was looking at the wrong sheet.
okay, great. So Mark, you have $10,000 then for this. I think, you sort of dividing them.
And just to
equally
let
as-
everybody know, this is a committee thing. This isn't just my thing, and I'm open to working with anybody on any level. So, we took the ball and ran with it as fast as we could in a very short amount of time. And, but I'm down to work with anybody on any of this.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned before, Ava stepped down. This was originally going to be kind of her wheelhouse in terms of organizing and stuff. So anyone who wants to help Mark, please do. I think Melissa's helping him. She found musicians and things. So I plan on being there in some capacity for sure. Day of stuff. So
Yeah, April 13th and 14th. I'll just be upfront and say that I'm going to be out of town that weekend. So if there is anybody who's willing to volunteer to sort of keep things running smoothly, I would certainly appreciate it.
This
Okay,
is Melissa,
right on.
I'm out of town as well.
I
shit.
I have rehearsals where cabaret is about to open at the college, but I could potentially jump in and figure it out, or have someone from our team be there.
Yeah, I think, and potentially Sabrina, maybe we could tap into Anna and some of the event people stuff to just kind of at least keep some things moving. But
Anna's going to be there.
We'll have to figure that out offline.
Yeah, Anna will be there. I will be there. Brad is there as well, who's like of Eco Evolution. He's like helping organize everything.
Okay.
And some folks from AGW Partners will be there that day.
I was just going to say, this is benefiting HW. They should be offering at least a little bit of hands to help us with the stuff.
Yeah, so
But I think it's going to be pretty self-sufficient. As Mark pointed out, it's low impact.
And everybody has
just-
agreed up front that there's music that's free of profanity, agreeing that, you know, if they're told to turn down, they'll turn down, all that kind of stuff. It's everybody sort of understands what this is about.
Cool. And so Mark is gonna, you know, basically set a schedule. These people just need to show up and be on schedule. And
Yeah, I shared that with Sabrina today, and she'll
cool.
provide that information to everybody.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Great. I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is a good first step to getting things other things going in the city. There's certainly a lot of musicians and performers around. Right, moving on to item E under new business. This is also, Mark, your wheelhouse. This is approved. Oh, wait. Yes, this is also Mark's. We have approving the stipend for the Poet Laureate program. So Mark has been, he went to the meeting. He's really kind of like busting his brain, figuring out how to revive this program. He went to the meeting with the library folks, and it looks like he has a fair amount of updates for us, as well as a budget item to vote on with this. So Mark, I'll let you keep going.
I'm not sure if we're ready for a vote, quite frankly, but
okay, maybe just a
to
follow-up
update
then.
everybody that what's been discussed is the current poet laureate is ready to step down, and we've basically, you know, the people that came to this meeting are essentially has been formed as a de facto poet laureate selection committee, and we've discussed some various guidelines, nothing set in stone, but some of the things we discussed is having a 2-year term, so that we don't have it open-ended. So we ever feel like we have to kind of, you know, decide it's time to change. And one of the other things that we discussed was an idea I had for choosing a junior poet laureate, somebody who would be in the New York City, you know, public school or high school, somebody that's we can sort of tap into, you know, stimulating the poetry thing, but within, you know, younger generation. So we talked about that. We talked about potentially having an overlap, so that the poet laureate and the junior laureate would start 1 year apart. So the new poet laureate has a year to kind of get his feet wet, figure out what he's doing, and then the poet laureate is then in a position to mentor the junior laureate. So that's something we're talking about. Laurel Peterson is really involved with this. She was the former poet laureate before Bill Hayden, who is currently. Bill and Laurel are both a part of this committee, as well as Sherelle from the library. When it comes down to it, we're going to hopefully just land on an amount that we propose as a stipend for this person. And in the past, we've split this money between the Arts Commission and the public library. And, you know, we think that it's going to come down to that again, and we hope that it will basically become a fund match between our two entities. So it represents a true partnership between the Arts and Cultural Commission and the Norwalk Public Library. And that's where we are.
Okay, so you and that dollar amount you said shouldn't be voted on tonight because it's still kind of being worked out.
I feel like, because we had the one meeting, we have yet to have a follow-up meeting, and I sort of feel like I want to get our ducks in a row before we make a motion on that money, especially since we'd be spending it from the next July budget probably anyway.
Sure.
So I think we probably should wait until July to really approve that. I don't think it's going to come out this year's money.
Okay. Again, does anyone have any comments? And I would also say, if anyone wants to help Mark or have input on this, the more ears and eyes on it, I think, at least initially, the better. So
I have a question. I'm not to backtrack, but in terms of the On Washington event, if people are doing covers, do we have a BMI or ASCAP license?
The answer is actually no, we don't. That's a really good, interesting question, though.
Yeah, because it's going to fall under our jurisdiction and liability, and if we don't have that, I just don't want to ruffle any feathers there. So I think we should, you know, whether it's not expensive, right? Even if it's just a 2-day or whatever it is, but it would be very helpful if we had that, so the city doesn't get in trouble.
okay. Well, I mean, Mark and Danny, maybe you should chat about that offline. It's a good point to bring up.
So it's not a city event, like we're partnering, but the insurance and all the logistical pieces are actually through AGW Partners and or Eco Evolution. So we
Okay.
should talk with them about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so the onus will probably be on them.
It's
on their property
good
too.
point, Danny. Yeah, it's a really good it's a valid question.
Sorry, thanks.
So Poet Laureate, I would say again, anyone who wants to help market this, I feel like Nori's talked about this before. You know, I think having two people from the Arts Commission could be really beneficial. I will chime in and show up to those meetings when I can. But it's also not my world, and I don't want to, you know, speak for writers really. But anyway, does anyone have any questions, concerns, things to bring up for, you know, for this? And it's kind of early, but okay, cool. Well, thanks, Mark, and thanks for also, you know, spearheading yet another thing. Really appreciate it. So moving to old business, we have two items here. The first one is, you know, the Vines relocation discussion. I don't, we've talked a lot about this. And I feel like we're sort of beating a dead horse, but I did want to put it on the agenda just because, for whatever reason, our location of the Maritime Garage was not approved. It's not feasible for one reason or another.
They said it's
that doesn't matter. Yeah, apparently not. I think, you know, whatever, it is what it is. So I guess I wanted to just bring it up, make sure everybody knew what was going on with it. If anyone had any other suggestions, I am all ears, because the city does not have a lot of property where this works. Some reminders about this. This is a metal sculpture. This sticks out from the wall. I think it's in our best interest to keep it up off of, you know, hand height, so people can't climb it and stick stuff in it and hang stuff off of it, which limits our options even more. And apparently the parking garages are not possible. And so, yeah, I guess maybe not a question to be answered right now, but if anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. Myself, Mark, and Steve and Nori will likely meet again to chat about it and come up with our second recommendation. We're basically just going to be recommending things until redevelopment decides they don't want recommendations anymore. Naomi has her hand up.
Hi, yeah, what about someplace at the Sono Mall? Like,
Well, the problem is that's private property, and it's not that we can't. It's just that is it's uncharted territory.
Okay.
It's a piece of publicly owned art that we would be reinstalling on a piece of private property. And I know we've talked about this before in regards to murals. Also, we don't even know if they would even want it, and who that money. Yeah. Anyway, there's potential issues there, but it's
Right.
not a no. I mean,
I mean,
we talked about
the art
spreading it
show-
out too. It's in sections, you know, it's like putting it in all different places too. It's a
I mean, maybe
scavenger hunt
they
of
have
sorts.
those some, like, I feel like there's streets that go through there that could be public streets, but it's like a little protected, like the tunnel that kind of goes through.
Yeah. But mounting it would be still on
Yeah,
private
The-
property, and it's, you know, they have their own whatever marketing teams and, you know, creative directors and whatever.
the show that Susan Hardesty put together,
Yeah.
the show that then moved to the Sono collection.
Mhm.
I think the guy who runs, I don't know, something about it, or the developer was there. So I do feel like we have a contact we wanted to explore.
They have interest. They have interest in art and working with us. I know in the past they chatted with Mark about
Yeah.
things. So
I mean, it's a
Talking about the
safe,
mall.
like a safe,
Yeah.
place. Yeah. It's for artwork, it would be, I feel like
Okay.
it would be up their alley, and it would be protected and still seen a lot, and maybe in a different context, because there is more kind of visual
Mhm.
installation around there.
I think Melissa had her hand up next.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was trying to find my unmute button.
All good.
What about, I lost my train of thought, darn it. Go to Mark and come back to me.
All right,
sorry.
Mark, what do you got for me, Mark?
No, I just wonder, the fact that it exists on what is Connecticut DOT property now. I'm
Yeah, good
thinking
point.
there is a precedent maybe that
Good point.
moving it to a different location is less problematic, like one of the
Mhm.
underpasses, which is owned by the same people, and it might be a very
Mhm.
easy thing because
The only thing I thought about the underpass thing, and the only thing that I come up with is there's not really another one that's big enough. Maybe
Yeah.
Union Park if we do both sides, but you know, you also have to remember that we're then also losing yet another location, you know, for public art. We don't have a lot of them to begin with. And this one is, again, it's unique. It has to be mounted up. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe one of the schools.
What if we put it
Um,
where above the plaques where Heritage Park is? You know, where Heritage Park has all those plaques?
mhm.
Like
There's
saying a
probably
bunch
enough space there.
with different languages would be like kind of on theme with the vibe.
Basically, just sliding it down.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
And we don't have transportation costs associated with packing it up and moving it somewhere as
That's
well.
true.
So it might save us money too.
That's not a bad idea. All right, so Heritage. Melissa, did you remember what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say the train, where Sono train is,
Mhm.
on the train railing on the bottom of it. I mean, since it is a DOT, like Mark was pointing out, I mean, maybe it could be there.
Railing.
Like when I'm
like the
going
platform?
No, well, I mean, the platform isn't high enough. I was
Yeah.
talking like if I'm going towards the police station and I'm on Main and I'm going and you have the Sono sign that's to your
Mhm.
left, the bridge there, could it
Oh.
be attached to the bridge? And then that way,
It probably could be, but I also feel like that's going to be sort of a non-starter, basically trying to weld something to a piece of, you know, structure and, you know, structure of a bridge. Certainly been enough talk about that lately in the news.
We could sell it.
What, sell it?
We could sell it.
We could. We find another municipality that wants to buy this thing off of us. Raise some funds. Yeah, I mean that's a maybe, but I feel like that's going to be even more difficult because now you're talking about potentially getting people up on lifts in traffic to mount something to Metro North / state property. I mean, if they don't want to do the maritime garage, I feel like they're not going to want to mess around with that.
probably.
Who's in charge of the
What
maritime
about-
garage?
Parking authority or whatever. Right, Sabrina? Is that correct? Bob Travers, maybe?
Jim Travers?
What
Jim
about,
Travers.
what about Brian McMahon? With the.
Yeah, so I was
international-
thinking like one of the schools potentially could be a good spot for it.
Because it's in sections, it's like the
Mhm.
700
Yep.
square feet or whatever. And you can give each of the high schools one, but you know, they're rebuilding Norwalk High, but
Yeah. Well, we could store the bit that was waiting for Norwalk High.
give Danny a piece of it.
Brian,
We can give-
How big is it?
So it spans 800 something feet, but it's in sections that I imagine are probably 10-foot sections, 8-foot sections, something like that. I think they're different shapes, but I think they're all manageable sections. Like it comes apart.
Sorry, so wait, the length is how long?
The entire
800.
length is about 800 feet. But
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a
it's-
huge installation for its time.
And the other
Anyway.
issue is, it's not,
well,
It's like,
hang on. No raise floor.
sorry.
I was gonna say, it's not, the shape isn't uniformed. So it looks like a wave if you're driving down the street. So the
Yes.
problem is, some of it might be less than a foot in height.
Yeah.
And then in other spaces, it's like 3 feet high because it's just the
Right.
way the letters are. So that makes it unusual also to find a
Yeah,
place
so you
for it.
need the square footage to be able to kind of plan and map it. Naomi, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, I was just struck by the size how big it is. Like I
Yeah.
there's maybe it could be yeah.
We did we
Is it
did discuss the idea of
something that-
splitting it up.
Yeah, if it got split up, I had an interesting talk before with Jess about I just want to check about some type of art installation, that was like the cows or the dolphins, or how the cities do those, permanent
Yeah.
pieces, or pieces that stay there for a few months and then go to the next thing, and each one is different. Is there a world in which like the mural was and I don't know, or this piece, I don't know well enough, but if it gets split up and put into many places and we do some type of art crawl, or
That's so
something
yeah,
that's
that
in a
was sort of the
specific-
idea we had, because basically if we can't come up with a space that's large enough to hold it all in one place, that
Right.
short of just storing it, that is basically our other option is but now you have to find whatever 30 locations
Oh,
or however we
I
don't know how
will
many
say-
sections it is, but
If it's on Wall Street, there's enough of us. I know I'm Team Wall Street, but there's enough of us there that we would definitely be able to do it there. I think, I think there's at least 10 to 15 places that would make sense.
right, but this
we
is
have
this is
three
a metal
buildings.
sculpture that's mounted to the face of something. I
Yeah.
can't imagine a building owner that wants to mount a sculpture to the side of their building. 30
I've
of
got a
them.
couple. I would do it.
Okay, well,
I mean, if that's
maybe
helpful.
not, maybe it is possible, maybe it is possible.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it's like one of those things where you start to, and then the costs start to go up exponentially too, to relocate
Right.
and reinstall in several locations rather than one. So I think that's why
Got it. It sounds like a bigger
we're trying to
problem
be
than what it's worth.
we're trying to be smart about it, so it doesn't end up just in storage or scrap or whatever.
Are we open to considering the
Got it.
idea of leaving it
So-
incorporate with the mural itself?
So we asked the artists if they were interested in incorporating it, and they said definitively no. We haven't told them they have to, which of course is a road we could go down, but we've also generally approved, the artwork, and I don't know how that would change this. I thought for sure Ernesto was going to be okay with it because he has incorporated wall-based plantings and a variety of architectural details in some of his work. And I thought maybe he would kind of give it a go because their work is expressive, but it's also yellow and potentially clashes with their color scheme. Anyway, the point is, simple answer is the artists have said they are not interested in that, but sure, that's a possibility.
Well,
Others.
I think the
that's
other
gonna be-
is, I'm
Hmm?
sorry. I was gonna
Sorry, I
say,
was
I
just
think-
gonna say, we should probably just plan our next committee meeting anyway to
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go on and on about it. The point is, I guess, well, sorry, Nori, make your point.
I was gonna say, I can, after, it's there and you kind of forget about it. It's been there for like 10 years. But once you drive by it and you actually look at it, I can see where another artist doesn't want to paint with it because, like I said, one section might be a half a foot wide and then another section is
Sure.
like 3 feet. And it's like,
Sure.
how are you going to paint something underneath
Yeah.
that? It's too
I mean,
tough.
I'm the type of person, if it were me and I had, $150,000 mural contract on the line and said, well, you got to paint with this sculpture. Well, I'm going to paint with the sculpture. Like I'm not going to scoff at it, but
Yeah.
it's not me. I'm not the one painting it. So
Yeah.
anyway, Mark, you're probably right. I would say, wait, Melissa, your hand's up again. Are you, or did you just not put it
Take
down?
my hand down, sorry.
I think Melissa may have just had her left up too.
Sorry, I
Um,
left.
That's all right. No big. So yeah, I'll say generally speaking, we can go on and on about it. I agree, Mark, that as the subcommittee, we should meet again with some ideas, really put our heads together. And Danny, maybe you're right. Maybe we could find a bunch of, business owners that want to incorporate it. I mean, judging by the people that hate it though, good luck. And I would say if anyone else has any other suggestions or anything else, any other lightning bolts that strike you in the next, week or so, just drop me an email. And we will certainly chat with that. And hopefully next meeting, we will have something to show you to vote on, to take to redevelopment. Anyway, all right, moving on to what is the last item. This is back to Mark. This is the Mark Allen meeting. We're approving the Mayor's Gallery music history exhibit and spending a little bit of money on the QR code reader thing, so I'll let Mark
QR code is,
chat about that.
that's a negligible cost really at this point, but the,
Okay.
pretty much it was the cost of, which, the truth is, I don't know what this is gonna cost. Bob and I talked about working together on this, basically doing a new Mayor's Gallery exhibit. And we were going to do this to feature Norwalk-born musicians from yesteryear and up to current times. And there's a tremendous number of them. And I had done all the research, and I kind of got up to the point where I was going to be working with Ava to sort of plot out. Essentially, it's going to consist of portraits of these musicians, and then there will be a QR code to people can scan the code to listen to a sample of their music. That said, I can't give you a specific amount, so
Okay.
it may not be ready to vote. But as
Yeah,
long as
probably.
there is some money that we could potentially use between now and the end of the year, then we could kick it down
Yeah.
the line to this month, and I give you specific costs.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then the other thing is, if it needs to wait until next year, July, that's fine too. But
Yeah.
the main
Well, I mean,
thing is-
it looks like we'll have about a little over $1,000 left over in the operating budget for you to use for something like this. And I think it's possible to do it for that dollar amount. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think having a number to vote on is going to be important. So yeah, let's just plan on this for next month.
I
But
think
Danny
when
has a
we
hand up.
did that, we also did a little event which cost next to nothing at the Mayor's Gallery, which is kind of like a ceremonial ribbon cutting. And in this case, it would be cool because we could actually invite some of the musicians to come, like
Yeah,
or Silver Sun, who lives in Brooklyn, as a rapper.
Yeah.
I found.
Danny, you have your hand up.
Yeah, we can do this free. You know, you can QR code to SoundCloud, and there doesn't need to be any cost to
Oh,
it.
no,
I
yeah,
mean,
you're right. I'm saying the cost of the QR code is negligible. It's more the
Yeah.
printing costs.
It's printing costs. It's doing a little event. It's just some things to make sure that the costs are covered, to have some things hung and printed and looking nice.
The last exhibit we
Got it,
did
got
was
it,
on the
okay.
history of the fire department in Norwalk, and that was pre-pandemic. And the idea was we were going to change out the mayor. We used to change out the Mayor's Gallery every year.
We should be doing it like every 6 months, basically.
Yeah, it's time we do that.
And with that said, I mean, the two galleries we do have access to, which is the Maritime Gallery and the Mayor's Gallery, while they are not the most heavily foot trafficked areas, we do have two galleries in this that are city owned that we could do things with. And I will just sort of toss that out to the entire commission. There's nothing in the Maritime Gallery right now. That if anyone has ideas, like please, jump on them. I agree with Danny. We can do these things for next to nothing. Let's do more of that kind of stuff.
Also, we got approval from building management to use like any wall space that's free in the city hall hallways, and there's a lot of it.
There you go.
So we can use that for whatever we want to.
There you go.
do we have
Yeah.
800 feet?
Yeah, let's put it in City Hall. Naomi, your hand up.
Yeah, I would love to curate a show for the Maritime Gallery.
Yeah. I think what's cool with the Maritime Gallery that has not been utilized, and maybe this is just like a liability thing, is that the gallery itself is relatively small. It's basically the front of the office of the parking authority, but there's the entire open stairwell. It's basically like Norwalk's brutalist Guggenheim or something. It's like these like stairway landings, and so we had to put something that would I don't know, maybe wouldn't be super precious, because I think the parking garage is open 24 hours a day, and so potentially people could mess with things, but I don't know. I mean, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, no, I'd love to put something together for maybe next meeting.
Sure,
Right?
by all means. I think the last was Bob was sort of running this, but it has been a very long time since we've done anything with the Maritime Gallery. I think maybe it just ends up being more horse by committee than just Bob kind of
I feel
picking
like
and
doing
choosing.
something with the Norwalk's brutalist mini Guggenheim.
I know. Every time I've been in there, I was like, something
Something
cool,
brutal.
hanging. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
you could do with it.
I'm gonna think about it. I'm excited. So
Something brutal.
I want to put together a proposal for next.
Go. Yeah.
Probably for like the show, not for a couple months. Maybe I'll do it over the summer. And I have a little more.
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Like just an idea, and then we can just basically approve the idea, and then we can move forward.
Also,
with it.
Naomi, if you want to get in there and take a look around and chat with people,
That's pretty
just
cool.
let me know.
Absolutely.
What about, I think I keep coming around to education. But what if we did like a high school competition to be in the gallery or something
Sure.
like that to engage the kids? Because let's bring it all back to
Absolutely.
the kids, y'all.
Well,
Absolutely.
they actually used to do an annual, sorry, I didn't mean to just jump in, but they actually used to do the annual art show, remember? And then whoever won their piece permanently stayed in the top floor.
I didn't know about
the
that.
gallery
I don't
outside
think
the,
I think since COVID, we haven't done it.
And that's the thing. I think COVID just disrupted all these trains we had kind of moving forward and all this momentum, and then it just
Yeah,
shut it all
'cause
down.
that was one of the mayor's gallery pieces that we always had to put together. We would actually curate that space every 3 months. So it was done 4 times a year. And
All
we used to
about it.
pay a stipend of $500 to the person doing it.
All about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how that used to work.
Naomi, you had something else you want to say?
Yeah, Danny, I love the idea of incorporating students, but I think the one I'm thinking of is more going to be, I want to target professional artists as well, but I love the idea of doing both. And maybe something, a lot of the schools have their art shows in the spring. So maybe something that coincides with like the end of the year art shows that a lot of schools put on. But I think I always want to involve schools, but I also want to make sure that we're supporting a professional artist community as well. Not that there's, we can't do both, but I was thinking, I think the professional artist community for the show that I'm thinking of but obviously there'll be many shows. So.
I mean, yeah, I said
Well,
presumably we could
Denise-
these things could rotate out every other month, every 3 months. I mean, it doesn't have to be sitting around for a year at all. Like we could have this just continually moving. And if we have these sort of systems in place, that's some of the things we want to do. Presumably we can move that much faster with them. It's just that we've gotten kind of, stale and maybe a little lazy.
it's it's an interesting thing that Nori or Melissa was talking about. I'm sorry. The fact is, we used to hire curators outside of the Arts Commission to actually do these things. We didn't necessarily stop, but we had more expertise available to us within the commission than we had previously. So we started doing this internally, but we ourselves can't get paid. But then again, we're also
Good point to bring up.
massively busy. So it's maybe, that speaks to the idea of maybe there's reason to talk about hiring somebody these events to curate it, that somebody who's going to be better able to get them done. I don't know.
Well, don't we have the People's Gallery where we installed a hanging system?
Yeah,
Because
I think
it's
that's
much bigger.
where Mark's talking about. Isn't that the same thing?
No, the Mayor's Gallery is right. It's in the alcove
Oh,
before
right.
you go into the mayor's
right.
office.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
then
that's
we have the
interesting. The
People's
People's
Gallery.
Gallery, that's what they call it, the People's Gallery. We had actually, this was going back pre-COVID, we had approved the money to purchase the hanging system for City Hall. And then they started doing construction on the People's Gallery, and that kind of like pushed it down the line. But I don't think that budget, that money really exists now, but we did approve that at one point. To be able
Because that's an even larger space to put stuff in if we still have access to it.
So there you go. We got
opposed-
3. We have 3 city galleries. We're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
People's
No,
Gallery.
I mean-
Nori, we have
One of the-
access to that. There's literally one thing that's I think it's Susan's old piece is up there, and that's it. And that's actually directly adjacent to where the blank spaces kind of are in the hallways. So essentially we would just be expanding the People's Gallery to be larger.
Because I was
Pat-
thinking you can have local guilds come in that are within town,
Sure.
promote like Danny's school, the Musical Theater of Connecticut, the Crystal Theater, have stuff like that in there to say, look at the culture
Sure.
that we have in the city. Take pictures of the musical events that we're doing and just place them throughout the People's Gallery.
All right,
You know,
that's the show Dory's gonna curate. There you go.
You're hired.
I think Heather just joined us and she has her hand up. Heather Dunn.
I have been here the whole time. I'm
Oh,
listening.
hi.
That's okay. I just wanted to put out there that we have a new thing with the high school kids where they have to do a capstone project. So it starts, I think, freshman year, where they have to come up with the whole project and have an end result project. And something like the Mayor's Gallery and the Mark's project about music would be really great to incorporate one student that could, really assist with that, maybe with the QR codes or whatever, assist you with it, and have that be their final project would be really great.
Oh yeah. I love that idea.
Really helpful to the kids. Okay, that's
For
it.
sure. For sure. I love that. Thank you. Okay. All right. So wrapping it back up here, Mark is gonna come to us with whatever budget he may need for this music exhibit that he's been long thinking about. And hopefully we'll also hear from Naomi with something she wants to do in our Brutalist gallery, or whatever we're calling it. And if anyone else, by all means, like it's gonna be ongoing, all these things. So with that said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
This is Melissa, I motion.
Thank you, Melissa. We have a second.
I second.
Thank you, Danny. Brian Casper, I vote aye. Mark Allen.
I'll say aye, but I want to stay.
So not aye. That's nay.
Aye. Aye.
Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
I
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
And Danny Loftus George.
Aye.
The ayes carry. I'll see you guys next month and or offline. Later.
yes.